Millie, and I'm going to be breaking down the latest on Google. We could very well be seeing. Gavin, she's being really loud. This is Millennial Millie, and I'm going to be breaking down the latest on Google and the controversy surrounding the leaked documents. We very well could see Googlegate coming soon. We could see court cases. We could see the government coming after Google criminally with criminal charges for some of the violations that they have done here. But if you guys have been following this latest leak through Project Veritas, where Google insider Zachary Voorhees came forward with hundreds of documents that exposes that Google lied to Congress when they testified. They exposed that they have been doing exactly what Alex Jones has been saying that they have been doing this entire time. Gee, Alex Jones was right about Jeffrey Epstein. Alex Jones was right about Google. Alex Jones even predicted that they were going to ban him before he banned him. I mean, Alex Jones has predicted so many. I could go on about that all day. But these documents vindicate that. Okay? It even lists Alex Jones. But before we get into this, I just want to go over this latest news story with Zachary Voorhees. Just reading over this man's story, we are also grateful that Zachary, this Google insider, decided to come forward with this information. He did it really for the betterment of America and his fellow Americans, essentially, at the risk of his own, financial peril or maybe even physical peril. He mentioned that he had been compiling these documents for like 100 or so. He says he'd been compiling these documents for like a year, hundreds of documents. And that he says, the reason why I collected these documents was because I saw something dark and nefarious going on with the company. And I realized that they were going to not only tamper with the elections, but use the tampering with the elections to essentially overthrow the United States. So when myself, many others at InfoWars, when Alex Jones has been saying they're going to try to steal the election, and that includes this election, big tech is going for it. They are going for it. They're going full tilt boogie. They're going to do whatever they can to ensure their hegemony, their control. And we're going to get into the Democrats, because the Democrats are playing a role here in this whole saga and whose side they're on. What's crazy is that Voorhees talks about how when Google caught on to what he was doing, compiling all these documents, he received a letter from Google, and this is so spooky. The letter included all these demands. One of the demands was that they wanted to know what documents he had taken from them and what all he had. So he says that he went along with those demands and gave them that. And then he received a wellness check from the police. This is unreal. The man gets harassed then by the police. He says, they got inside the gate, the police, and they started banging on my door. And so the police decided they were going to call in additional forces. They called the FBI. They called SWAT. They swatted him. Kind of reminds me of someone else who got swatted. Roger Stone. Do you remember that one? And they called a bomb squad? If that doesn't seem like some type of intimidation threat, and then that means that there's some kind of police and local government action going on there. I mean, that would intimidate anyone. Is this the type of intimidation that Google tries to use against their employees to stop them from whistleblowing and going public about their nefarious plots against the United States? Unreal. I mean, you can find more on this recent leak, all this information on Project Veritas. James O'Keefe. I mean, they've been trying to, his videos have been removed off the internet, Google, YouTube, all of them, they're trying to suppress it. You type in news about Google, guess what? You only get good news about Google. You don't get the leaks. You don't get the real story. They won't show their underbelly. That's why you should be trying new search engines, one of which is a new search engine, Yippee, who's been, essentially becoming very, very popular these days since we've been finding out about all these horrible, nefarious motives behind Google. Now, we're going to get into who and what is behind all of this. In order to really understand what is going on with this big tech censorship, the shadow banning, we should delve into this and look no further than the CEP. But before we get into the CEP, we're going to go through some history here. Okay, so Alex Jones, originally, it was back in 2015, he had Matt Drudge on, and Matt Drudge came and warned Alex Jones that the internet was in danger, that the future of the internet could change very rapidly. So let's go to some of these clips of Matt Drudge warning Alex Jones.
I did not do this as a stunt, neither did Matt Drudge. He is here. We got a hot mic over there. He wants to stay literally in the shadows behind a curtain. But this is the king of being able to push a story out and make it the #1 story in the world. They even admit that in the New York Times, that he has more readers on politics and news than Facebook, the New York Times, and the Washington Post, LA Times put together.
Well, you were just talking about Facebook, and thanks again for having me here. I'm not on Facebook. I don't do the socials. I've got that little Twitter thing. Even that's kind of disgusting. You know, I've been doing the internet as long as you've been doing this radio show, Alex. I was there before Facebook. I was there before CNN.com. I was there before mostly all of them. I have a very clear perception what the internet is. There's a lot of corporate makeover of the internet that I have not adapted to. Simply put, I need no traffic from Google. I don't care if I get one traffic referral from Google or Bing or Yahoo or any of these others. It's always been that way. Now, if you think of that setup, how rare that is, because everybody's so hungry for referrals. This whole social media stuff is bogus. Oh, I have to be, I'm out here as a citizen and I'm operating in their playground. Make your own playground.
Exactly. So what Drudge is getting at here is he's begging the question, why did we all go into these internet ghettos, these social media internet ghettos that they essentially lured everyone into? Why didn't people just focus on building their own individual websites up and allowing people to just go to them directly? I mean, it doesn't make sense, but see, they lured everyone there by saying, oh, we've got these big audience, you can reach all these other people. I mean, they lured everyone into their internet ghettos so that now they can try to say, oh, well, we get to pick and choose who gets to say things, who gets to exist, because they lured everyone in there. Whereas if you just stay on the internet, on the open web, everyone who buys a domain name can exist. So it's a good question he's begging here. We'll go back to a little bit more of this Matt Drudge interview.
He's not own playground. And
well, that's profound. I mean, because if we start creating our own maps, our own world, our own vision, then there's no way for these cultural tyrants to program us. And that's why they're pushing so hard to get more outrageous. I mean, is this the beginning of the end?
And to operate in their playgrounds. So you become famous on YouTube. You're playing in Google's hell pit.
No, I agree, but I've
Make
invaded
your
all those.
own place. Make your own. The internet allows you to make your own dynamic, your own universe. Why are you gravitating towards somebody else's? Stop operating in their playground. Stop it.
Well, let me say this. I totally agree with you. I've tried. I couldn't pay for the bandwidth to put all of our videos out on our own platforms. Now we're doing that at prisonplanet.tv and the Nightly News and putting ourselves, up on television to reach people, because it's kind of like jacking into the matrix, going into their playground. I try to then claw them over here to see what we're trying to do, what you're trying to do. But I totally agree with you. The answer is for all of us to create our own systems, our own ideas.
Let's take you to 2017. Let's fast forward a little bit. That was 2015 when Matt Drudge is warning about all of this, saying, get out of the internet ghettos. He was warning Alex, focus on your own website. Don't try to focus on social media. However, there were some positives of focusing on social media, because we were able to wake up and red pill tons and tons of people on social media. And during the 2016 election season, the censorship, the algorithms weren't being pointed at American citizens yet. They were only being pointed at extremists, like terrorist groups like ISIS, or at child pornography. They were not being directed at citizens yet. Okay, so then 2016 rolls around and we have a short-term victory, because the American people just burst to life, freedom, enlightenment, it all happens. We realize we want our rights, and the truth is revealed to Americans. They vote for Donald Trump. Then the crackdown emerges, where you see this push and this move towards trying to censor and silence patriotic Americans like InfoWars and Alex Jones. And one of the ways they hit Alex Jones and InfoWars immediately was back in 2017. That's when they went after Alex Jones and InfoWars and suspended their ad roll account. And the ad roll service even said why they suspended Alex Jones. That means Alex Jones was no longer able to run ads on his sites, because we know how all these advertisement companies work, where you see these advertisements all of a sudden on your feed, just like when you see them in Facebook or social media. You'll be talking about chocolate or something, and then all of a sudden you see these chocolate ads. I mean, they're spying on us, and they're using these ads, these ad programs to do it. So next thing you know, I mean, it's probably a good thing that Alex got, not working with AdRoll anymore. But they said even on here that the reason they banned Alex Jones and InfoWars from using AdRoll to hurt us financially, essentially, was because of the political messaging, and they said because his political affiliations. It says, all content on your website should be relevant, accurate, informative, up to date. Furthermore, all political content should focus on the merits of the candidate, and political messaging should not target special interest groups, maybe like, Hillary Clinton Foundation, or imply affiliations. So because Alex Jones implied that he supports Trump, that's the issue. Well, gee, I wonder if they apply that rule equally. I wonder if they apply that rule to, let's say, CNN or many of these leftist news outlets that clearly imply that they hate the President of the United States and clearly imply that they are in direct lock and step with the DNC and all of their talking points. Gee, even though Alex Jones was anti-Republican even before, I mean, it's ridiculous. So now we see that happen. And next, in 2017, I interviewed James O'Keefe, November of 2017, when James O'Keefe did one of his huge press releases. He is just, this guy is amazing, does amazing undercover journalism. And in this interview with me, he alluded to big leaks coming. And it almost makes me wonder if maybe James O'Keefe had these contacts, these Google Insider contacts, for quite a while. So let's go ahead and roll to that clip. Well, do you have any hints for us as to
What's next?
what's next? Who's next?
You know, we're going to be going after bigger and bigger entities, and I want to. I have the words on my lips, and I want to say the names of these companies. But just imagine the largest and most powerful informational entities in the world.
Wow, some of the largest, most powerful information entities in the world. Well, gee, is Google not an information entity? I mean, they spider the internet to allow for search results of content, for information to be appearing in your search results. So it makes me think, maybe James O'Keefe had these contacts for a while. It does say in this latest James O'Keefe report that this man, he had been, this leaker had been collecting information on Google for over a year while working there, after he started to see that Google was engaging in nefarious activities. So I just find that interesting. Now let's get to the meat here. What documents, what evidence is there that shows that Google is targeting United States citizens with their algorithms that were originally given to them? This technology was designed and given to them. It was designed for going after extremists, terrorists. It was designed for going after people who wanted to put up kiddie porn. I mean, it was designed for actually trying to keep smut and snuff films and bad stuff off of the internet, which makes sense. You wouldn't want to have that stuff going around viral on the internet. But see, the problem is Google decided to use that technology and direct it at American citizens. So some of these queries, it says, the queries in this file will force the controversial twiddler to be triggered. Okay, so it almost seems like that's a little riddle they have there. The controversial twiddler? So is that like a new little term? They had grifters, they've got deplorables, controversial twiddlers, like we're just twiddling our thumbs, putting up content to be triggered, like to upset us. So they in this file here, tons of documents. A lot of it is these shootings. It contains keywords for shootings, like the Stephen Paddock, the Las Vegas shooting. It contains that. It contains fake news, Las Vegas, conspiracy, and Stephen Paddock shooting. I mean, these are all keywords to block content from people. It contains, of course, it does contain some of the keywords that people might search to find teen porn or kiddie porn. It does contain some of those, but some of the things it contains are just bizarre. And it also contains keywords for David Hogg. So no one's allowed to say anything about David Hogg, apparently. I mean, he's got some friends at Google. So David Hogg hoax, or David Hogg actor, lots of things protecting David Hogg. False flag is on there, so you can't talk about false flags. They'll try to downrank that, disappear it. They've got more shooters, like all the shooters, like Nazim. She was the one who went and shot YouTube. But this is the problem. Okay, so they've got the stuff that you would think that the counter-extremist project would want them to be using this technology for. And the government would want them to be using the technology for going to try to suppress terrorist content, ISIS content. But what's interesting is I didn't actually see ISIS in here. So I don't know if this is just only a specific little part of their algorithms that he was able to leak, but I did find it interesting. I didn't see ISIS in there, or Al-Qaeda. But I do see all the shooters, and I also see abortion. Now, they've got so much stuff in here trying to limit the abortion debates and conversations on their platform. It's amazing. So they try to hide anyone that searches abortionism wrong. Abortion is murder. Abortion is crime. Abortion increases risk of miscarriage. Abortion increases risk of infertility. Now, I'm probably saying all this, and who knows if their algorithms are like, downrank, downrank, downrank. We'll see. But just share the video. Fight back, guys. Abortion increases the likelihood of future miscarriages. Gee, they don't want women to know about that, do they? I mean, pages, this is an entire page full of abortion limitations. Unbelievable. All these doctors, all these senators, all these professionals talking about it, they're downranking. So abortion and Senator Lynn Ron, abortion in the Catholic Church. I mean, it's insane. So yeah, abortion extremists. Oh no, pro-abortion extremists. So they don't want anyone, they want to downrank content that shows pro-abortion extremists. You mean like the crazy deranged liberals that I've interviewed who say that, unborn babies are parasites and that they should be killed after, the minute they're born even? They want to limit that content for people. It's just unreal. So they're targeting the abortion debate. We also know that in some of these documents, they targeted websites. They targeted infowars.com. Google search did. They targeted Media Matters, Gateway Pundit. Many Christian and conservative news websites were targeted and all put on this blacklist. So Google has been caught red-handed lying to Congress when they testified before Congress, when Ajit Pai testified before Congress. They lied, just ridiculously lied. And I want our congressmen, I want another hearing where they get brought before the Senate, and maybe the Senate can do something about them lying and perjuring themselves, because it's ridiculous how they get away with this stuff. So let's get into this document, the CEP. Okay, what is the CEP? I keep mentioning it, right? Who is the Counter Extremist Project? Well, I'm going to tell you. And the reason why you need to know this, because you get a backstory as to where all this censorship is coming from. It's not just only Google who's doing this. It's not only big tech social media companies who's wanting to censor the American people. Okay, so the Counter Extremist Project is a not-for-profit, nonpartisan, international policy organization formed to combat the growing threat from extremist ideologies, led by a renowned group of former world leaders and diplomats. Oh, yippee, it sounds like the United Nations, doesn't it? It combats extremism by pressuring financial and material support networks, countering the narrative of extremists and their online recruitment, and advocating for smart laws, policies, and regulations. So they also use the latest in communication, social media, and technological tools to identify and reveal the extremist threat and directly counter extremist ideology and recruitment online. So who is the Counter Extremist Project? Okay, so they are a think tank, essentially, of some very powerful, well-connected people. You've got diplomats, you've got politicians, former government officials, intelligence people. I mean, they're a think tank, a leftist-leaning think tank that develops all of this stuff to go after actual terrorists and extremists. So they're working in a way with parts of the deep state, the government, to go after, they're saying they're going after ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the terrorist networks that like to use social media, that they're going after the kiddie porn, they're going after the snuff films, they're trying to keep crime off the internet, so to speak. So they get all this help and they develop all of these tools to do so. And one of the people who developed a tool that is going to come out and reach social media soon. I mean, some of these tools are already on social media, but trust me, this new This new technology is going to be able to censor memes. Okay, so it'll be able to, like a fingerprint, identify memes, and all those memes will be able to be vanished off of multiple social media sites all at once. This is CEP Senior Advisor Dr. Hani Farid. He is the one who's developed this technology. Dr. Hani Farid has worked with CEP to develop a new robust hashing technology. So we've talked a lot about algorithms, but this is a hashing technology capable of identifying and quickly removing the most horrific content. So let's go to this interview with Dr. Hani Farid.
We developed a hashing technology that allowed us to identify any image in a sea of really billions and billions of images. At the time when we developed that, we knew that we were going to have to start thinking eventually about how to do similar technology with video and audio. Here's how it works. Every piece of content, images, videos, and audio recordings, has its own distinct digital fingerprint. No matter where the content is posted, no matter how many times it's copied or shared, its fingerprint remains the same. So eGlyph, which was developed with the Counter-Extremism Project, is a technology that takes photo DNA and it adapts it to be able to extract these signatures from video and audio recordings. When the Counter-Extremism Project finds extremist content, eGlyph is activated. The eGlyph algorithm scans the billions of uploads to social media platforms every day. It allowed us to simultaneously analyze images, video, and audio and be able to remove then based on these compact signatures and do it very accurately and very fast. When it finds a matching fingerprint, it reports its finding to social media platforms. eGlyph is fully automated so that it immediately identifies the same piece of content wherever and whenever it pops up. And it's designed with best business practices in mind. By flagging content, eGlyph empowers tech companies to take action and to enforce their own terms of service more efficiently. We offered this technology for free. The tech company said, we're not going to do this. We are going to use our own hashing technology. Developing technology to moderate content is not a money-making adventure. It's a way of dealing with the pressure from the public, but it is not where the core emphasis is. Prior to our development of eGlyph, the tech company says there's nothing we can do about terror content. And as soon as we developed eGlyph and publicized it, well, guess what? They developed similar technology and have claimed to be deploying it and using it. It's going to have to be technologies that start rolling out to automatically detect it.
In response to Google-operated YouTube's decision to remove sermons from an al-Qaeda operative from its platform, one of our guests today commented approvingly, "This action will save lives. No longer will at-risk persons be able to casually encounter this kind of bigotry."
We are able to now agree that the worst of the worst content, we are not talking about stifling free speech or expression or discussion or dialogue or disagreement. We are talking about people who are promoting violence against our citizens. We have to agree that there is no room on our platforms for this.
We've had a robust free speech debate for hundreds of years now in the United States, and I think we've done a pretty good job. I think that we can make decisions on terms of service that the companies that say, look, get it right, we should reward. The reality is that pornography in many instances, of course, is free speech and is legal. But for example, Facebook, if you wanted to go on Facebook today and to look at nudity or pornography, you couldn't do that because they conclude that they don't want their neighborhood, their community to have pornography. That was a business decision. I presume some of those videos of the terrorist in question amassed significant views in the millions or billions. Yeah. Were those videos of the cleric being monetized in the way that InfoWars, there was an excellent piece in 2017 in the New York Times Magazine on how some of the bigotry has been further emboldened through the vicious cycle of monetization.
Yeah. What has been the tension with the technology companies not to remove this stuff? That's sort of a really interesting question, and I will, we might be able to have a reasonable discussion as to whether you should leave the Al-Awlaki videos up or not. But I will tell you that back in the day when we were talking about child pornography, images and videos of 8-year-olds and 4-year-olds and infants being sexually molested, the tech companies were also saying the same thing. We don't really feel like this is our business to take this material down. We are a platform. We hide behind the Communications Decency Act that says we are simply a neutral broker. If there's a law enforcement issue, let law enforcement deal with that. And the thing that I found very frustrating was that the same technology that we developed to counter child pornography can be used to counter extremism, hate, and lots of other things. It is agnostic as to what it looks for. And so we have developed this very powerful technology that is capable of making these platforms safer.
Mustn't they act now? Because they have to commit. And if they take the videos of a Islamic fundamentalist down, don't they have to take the videos of the KKK profiteers?
Absolutely. And here's where it gets tricky, because once you open that door, so you can understand why they never wanted to open the door in the first place.
The social media companies try to wrap themselves in a First Amendment debate. Remember, they're governed by terms of service, as I said previously. But we have a really robust and well-developed First Amendment discourse that we've had over several hundred years now. And I think it's been pretty well done. We've concluded as a society that some speech isn't acceptable. There's so many not close calls. From Anwar al-Awlaki to child pornography to Russian bots, there's an entire universe of clearly wrong, amoral, illegal.
Not acceptable. That's what he says. We've concluded that some speech is just not acceptable. That's what these guys say. These are a bunch of liberal Silicon Valley hoity-toities that think that they are the ones who gets to pick and choose who can speak and whose voice should or shouldn't be heard on the internet. We've got a dangerous problem here when they know the First Amendment, they know what rights Americans have, yet they're just going to say, oh, you know, the First Amendment's great and all, yeah, but we need to be policing hate speech. We need to be policing speech that we think is extreme. See, they start out with justifying the creation of the technology by saying, oh, we got to go after terrorists, we got to go after kiddie porn, we got to go after snuff, which makes sense. And then they decide to use the technology against their political dissidents. Gee, what a surprise. They can't resist the temptation to silence anyone that they don't like their opinions. It's just unbelievable. And what's outright ridiculous here is this little quote, okay, from this article on the CEP. I just found it just ridiculous. It says, this is a positive first step to help combat online extremist propaganda that is pervasive and too easily accessible, and we look forward to working with the social media companies on a fully functioning and effective solution that will swiftly identify and remove content across all platforms. Across all platforms. You hear me? All platforms. So not just Google, not just Facebook. Ever notice how Alex Jones was swiftly banned across almost all platforms on the same day? I think it was only Twitter that refrained, but he was banned on, Snapchat. I mean, he was banned on WhatsApp, LinkedIn even, YouTube, Facebook, the Google. I mean, he was banned in a very short time across all these platforms all at once. So that's when they're saying that they're going to use this to censor people across all platforms. And they also know that this technology could be dangerous in the wrong hands. But they basically say, oh, we need to just blindly trust that these big tech social media companies are not going to misuse them. They say, oh, while today's announcement is a welcome development to essentially the creation of this hashing technology that will be able to ban memes and ban technology across entire platforms, like it's a fingerprint across all the social media networks. The challenge moving forward will be to ensure that the social media companies are transparent about the nature, extent, and metrics of the content to be hashed, and that the technology is swift and accurate. These companies must be held fully accountable when deploying the technology. So all these tech think tanks, they've got the world-renowned, the world foremost technological experts that created this hashing technology, these algorithms, and they just handed it all off to these big tech companies like Facebook, Google, etc. And they're like, here you go. now you better use it the right way, wink, wink. And then we've got these whistleblowers coming out, big surprise, saying that these Silicon Valley lefties are misusing that power. And so what's our response going to be as American people? What are we going to do? Rightfully so, we're going to say, hey, that's not right what they're doing. These guys need to be regulated. We need to regulate these companies. We need to regulate social media. Is that something we really want to do, though? I know that a lot of people on the conservative side, and even myself for a while, I started to kind of buy into that idea of maybe we should regulate these big tech companies, have the government regulate them. It's actually not what we want. It's actually absolutely not what we want. And I'm going to tell you why. Notice in that interview, Dr. Hanny Ford and these people at the CEP were talking about eGlyph, this technology that the CEP created, eGlyph. Social media companies, when pressured into using eGlyph by the counter-extremist group because they don't want to be taken down for allowing terrorist content on their platforms, their response was then to develop their own with its own name, but basically the almost exact similar technology, but because it's theirs, it's in their hands, they've got the power over it, they can use it however which way they want and code it to whatever they want to code it to. Do we really want government, extremist project groups or arms of agencies of the government to deploy this type of technology on the entire internet, on all of the American public, where it's no longer just social media, one social media company that decides they want to use their algorithms to censor certain people and go after certain political groups. It's the government now working with little diplomacy, pro-EU companies like the Counter-Extremist Project to deploy eGlyph across the entire internet. And then everyone has to have a internet ID, and every little meme you put out on the internet can be traced like it's a fingerprint across the entire internet, and then it's gone in an instant. We won't have memesters anymore. They'll ruin the fun of the internet. They'll ruin political voices, political action, political dissent. They'll ruin satire, parody. They'll say it's all hate speech. So it's easy to think right now, okay, maybe we should regulate. Hey, we should have Google before Congress, before the Senate, and they should be tried, and they should be crimes should be brought up against them. And in fact, I've heard that might be in the works. Okay, that could be something soon. We could see Googlegate soon. That could be coming very soon, actually. And they should be held for treason. I mean, if they're engaging in silencing American people, trying to interfere with our election processes by silencing political parties and political voices, political speech, then that's something that we definitely need to look into and go after them on that level. But we cannot be regulating, because if we get the Democrats in, we've already heard political candidates like Andrew Yang and many of the Democrats talk about implementing news ombudsmen. So a news ombudsman agency that would police the entire American public for fake news. Well, who gets to decide what's real news and what's not real news? Because right now we have half the country saying CNN is fake news, and then half the country saying, InfoWars is fake news, or Breitbart's fake news, or Fox News is fake news. So who gets to decide? Is it whatever political party gets into government for that 4-year term? Is that who gets to decide? I mean, it's a really ugly thing when government decides to get in there and start regulating and meddling around. It won't fix anything, but I think holding them criminally, possibly breaking them up if they're looking in antitrust violations, that might be ways to kind of go after them, penalize them for using that technology against the American public. So yeah, I mean, it's unreal. InfoWars is under unprecedented attack. And
already done some work with this fella. And he said, no, I was talking to Noam Chomsky.
Keeps up that press.
okay.
About 2 hours
This is a
ago, I got a
video
letter
clip of
from
Alex.
one of the colleagues, a friend of Gavin Wentz and Millie Weaver that they've known for many years. I've actually already done some work with this fella. And he said, no, I was talking to Noam Chomsky, and he basically wrote me a letter back in defense of your free speech. Doesn't mean Noam Chomsky agrees with you. Doesn't mean Noam Chomsky agrees with the straw men they've built about Alex Jones.
Aliens, mass poisoning, the Queen's supposed conversion to Islam. Nothing is off limits or implausible for Alex Jones, the right-wing radio host based in Texas.
But what they did say is that you have these big multinational combines and these big monopolies that are coming together and doing all of this to use me as the case point example to set the precedent to ban free speech.
But it wasn't for fake news that Apple banned his podcasts on Sunday. A company spokesperson said it was for hate speech, though they didn't cite a particular piece of content. Facebook, Spotify and YouTube quickly followed on Monday, also citing hate speech.
Just into CNN, Facebook is purging several high-profile names from its platforms. Among them, Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan, right-wing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, as well as his media outlet InfoWars.
Basically, they've deemed these individuals to be dangerous, is what Facebook is saying.
Tell me right now at InfoWars, how many platforms have you been banned from?
It's over 100, and that's what's really concerning, not for me, but for everybody, is that there have been concerted cartels, and they brag how they've worked in concert, even go after the software that we license. And they've admitted it's a test case for deplatforming other political prisoners in the future.
And if you take us backwards, so YouTube took you away, Facebook removed you?
Yes.
Twitter?
Yes.
And then we keep going back.
Spotify, Apple, where we had over 20 million subscribers, you name it. And it's worse than that. Google and Alphabet, its parent company, only puts the negative search results and lies about me. So that's the next level. It's not just, a private company took you off. They're working in concert. They're working as cartels. They brag they are. And they're gaming all the search results to only put out lies about me. And now I can't respond on any of these platforms.
And they're now taking away your payment system as well. Is that correct?
They've taken 6 of the 5.
No. How many are there total?
Well, there were 6. I got some backups, but
there were six payment platforms.
And they've taken 5.
They've taken 5 of the 6.
That's a whole other story. I learned they went in and put an Interpol sign on that I'm an international terrorist, money launderer, and criminal. And so that's what's now on the bank level that under InfraGard and national security. And they're planning to roll that out against other conservatives where they put a terror mark on you. You're not allowed to see it. I was told this by high-level bankers and have confirmed it.
What you want about Alex Jones, but he was the canary in the coal mine. He's patient zero for the censorship and the silencing of political dissidents in America. You may have your own opinion or voice your own concerns or opinions about Alex Jones, but in the future, you might not even be able to do that on social media platforms because they'll pick and choose who's allowed to exist. I mean, Alex Jones has been unpersoned. Any leftist media outlet can slander him and put defamation out there, but he cannot defend his own name. That is what it is coming to if you decide to take on the deep state, the New World Order, the globalists, the controllers that want to dominate and rule over us like a bunch of tyrannical dictators. They want us all to be their servants. It's unreal. Well, we are under unprecedented attack. I mean, even when Alex and I went and confronted Ajit Pai, the Google CEO in Washington, D.C., Alex called it like it was. And yet Google and these other people just kind of laughed and scoffed. The Democrat politicians laughed and scoffed like, we're all crazy. They're not censoring. They're not doing that. They're being honest. When Google told the Congress that they were not using their algorithms to target conservatives, that it was ridiculous, we just sat there and we watched them lie. Alex watched them lie. And we watched the Democrats lap it up like, yes, yes, yes. Meanwhile, the Democrats are just pressuring Google to censor the American people. They're like, censor, censor. We want hate speech censored. We want these conservatives censored. Otherwise, we're going to throw the book at you, regulate you, and then use eGlyph or our own technologies to censor the internet. And then meanwhile, the Republicans are saying, we want you to not be censoring and targeting conservatives in political speech. You're supposed to be using those technologies in your algorithms to go after actual extremists and terrorists like ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Meanwhile, they're targeting American citizens. And many people have noted that ISIS and Al-Qaeda still have their social media accounts. David Duke, the KKK, they still have their social media accounts. They're going after targeting political voices and political movements. The pro-life movement, Alex Jones, and many other conservatives and Christians out there. It's unreal. So we have been attacked. We have been hit. You heard that video. Alex Jones has had a lot of his money, his financing been taken from him. They've taken so much from InfoWars. They're trying to kill us because they know. They're trying to kill InfoWars, the company, because they know that all they need to do is completely silence us and steal this upcoming election. Even though we've seen Trump have these massive rallies, these massive crowd sizes, it won't matter if they use their electronic voting machines, if they have illegal aliens vote, if they have dead people voting, what the Democrats love to do, it won't matter. And then when we all try to speak out about it on the internet, they will just hide our voices. They'll silence us, and they will remove the articles. They will just remove anything they want. Go look on Google and try to find on their news, type in Google for Google News search results, and it's only all good news about Google. None of the stuff with James O'Keefe and these whistleblowers and these ex-Google senior technological advisors or these ex-senior engineers at Google who came out and whistleblowed, none of that's coming up. Just the good news about Google. Is that the future we want? It's not the future I want. So I'm going to continue to go out there and report the news to you guys and cover stories like this and go cover what's really happening at the Trump events. Go cover what's really happening with Trump supporters and, go continue to confront these politicians that are aligning themselves with the tyrants that want to try to rule over us and take away our rights. So please support us at infowarstore.com. We've got tons of great products, tons of great merchandise. One of the products that I really love, absolutely love, are the InfoWars protein bars. This one right here is the peanut butter chocolate bar, and I have been staring at it the entire broadcast because these things are so good. Yes, I am going to eat this on air. I want to show you guys. These bars are seriously, I didn't expect them to be this good when I got them in the mail. I thought, oh, okay, protein bars. I've had protein bars here and there. But these things are amazing. It's seriously so good. Like, it tastes like a candy. It is so good. And then it fills you up so quick, too. So, a lot of times, I'll just eat these instead of a meal. And then go running or go work out. It's got 15 grams of protein in it. And if you want to support InfoWars, this is a great way to do it. I mean, and they taste amazing, too. I mean, they're so good. Like, it's got peanut butter on the outside here. And chocolate brownie. So good. So good. What else has it got? It has whey protein inside of it. I absolutely love peanut butter chocolate. We also have a vanilla coconut one as well. And that one's really good. It's actually got real pieces of coconut in it. It's so good. I mean, Alex only has the best supplements and the best products. What's crazy is, you know, some people aren't really that into supplements or pills or whatever. I really get a lot out of the supplements, especially the X2 and the Super Female Vitality. And some of the fish oils are really good as well. But these, if you're not really even that into supplements, these things are great. They're a great snack item. They're a great thing to keep in your bag if you're busy and you can't do lunch that day, or maybe you're trying to diet or something. I mean, it's got tons of protein in it, and it's seriously so good. It's like a dessert. It's really good. It's really good. Only, 240 calories, 15 grams of protein, 10 milligram of cholesterol. It's really good, and it tastes like a candy. So go to InfoWarsStore.com to help support InfoWars and Alex Jones and me, and help it make it so that we can continue to do the news, report the news, and go out and cover these events. And you can do it while enjoying a super tasty treat. This is probably one of the best protein bars I've ever had, and I've had a lot of different protein bars. So I definitely recommend it. Go to InfoWarsStore.com. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this entire broadcast. I'm going to continue eating my protein bars so I don't have to talk while eating. So thank you.